Hey everyone, we're live. My name is Stefan Burns. Welcome to the channel. I'm joined by...
My name is Eileen McKusick, and Stefan is in town in Vermont visiting me this week. And so we're hanging out together and we're going to do a live stream with you.
We're at the Biofield Tuning Institute, a place that I found out is not haunted by ghosts, but there are weird sounds in the AC system. But there is a, big kind of energy spike happening right now. As many of you are aware, there's just been this talk about July 5th, and some people have been prophesizing something to happen, and I've been covering that on the channel from a very just open perspective. I find it interesting. It started to actually go mainstream today, BBC, I guess some of these other news agencies were covering this July 5th event. And well, we've had a really unusual Schumann anomaly actually pop up on the spectrogram, and there's been more earthquakes in Japan. So I'm going to do an energy report at the beginning, just quickly go through some of the data, and then the real magic begins with Eileen.
I'm going to do a tune-up, a group tuning to help bring more coherence to each of us who are watching, and then just bring that out into the earth. And if you've never received a tuning from me, it can be a very interesting experience. So I invite you to hang out and listen and see what you notice as we all become more coherent together.
Yeah, and this is really the spirit and science mashup, because that's basically what both of us do. Eileen has a huge background with your education and learning the physics of how biofield tuning is working, but then also what I very much believe is getting actual observational data, experiential data, and seeing what the truth actually is, not just what maybe a research paper says. And so I've had three biofield tunings the past 48 hours, and it's been phenomenal. And just as both of us being energy intuitives, just feeling into the energies of the past few days and just the big wave that's coming through right now, we wanted to provide this service for everybody. And I'm going to go on the record, I don't think anything's going to happen on July 5th in terms of some mega tsunami, but maybe, I've been covering it, but I don't think it's probably going to happen, though there's all the factors in place for it to happen, which is the interesting thing. But just even if it doesn't happen, let's say, or it's just there's so much collective energy right now focused on this event that it presents a rare opportunity for us to work with these energies, all of us together here on the live stream, entering into coherence, resonance, and then Eileen, the sorceress, is going to, the white wizard is going to bring us into greater coherence, which she's so fantastic at.
Yay. All right. Well, I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm going to let Stefan do his report.
Let me show you this.
Back.
Let me show you this crazy Schumann data. Okay, here's our sun first and foremost, but it hasn't really done anything super crazy over the past, you could say, 24 hours. So everything's actually looking pretty normal with the sun, though there are quite a few sunspots. So we're not looking at really anything solar in origin for what I'm about to show you, which is this very, very odd energy signature in the Schumann resonances, which you can see right here. And if you're looking at this, this is the new Earth Analytics data portal I created on my website, which is earthevolution.com. So you do www.earthevolution.com/data analytics, I believe it is, energy-analytics. And it has all these resources here for you. So check this out. It's linked in my video description, just FYI. But you can see this is quite nuts. This is not something we've ever seen before, and it's completely different than the rest of the spectrogram. Let me punch in on that. And there's not too much to discuss here because it's so bizarre. It's quite the surprise, actually. This is never, when we get a signature like this in the Schumann resonances, is this some sort of technological interference or glitch? That's probably the most likely case. But we've had this only a few times appear in the spectrogram. It's just really bizarre that that's appeared directly before this July 5th event, especially when you start talking about potential geoengineering experiments and maybe broadcasting energy to an area to trigger changes. I don't know, but that's what you would expect to see if you put in some artificial energy signature and that was picked up by a local observation station, which Tomsk is fairly close to Japan compared to our other public observatories, which would be Italy and hungry, which do not show anything odd in their data. May go through that really quick. But you see our normal Schumann resonances. Let me kind of zoom through this. It's a little difficult to show you right now, so let me turn myself off so you can see. Here's the past 2.5 days. And so these horizontal lines going across are these energy fields known as the Schumann resonances. They overlap perfectly with our brain waves. They connect to our heart rhythms, like heart rate variability patterns and the different internected frequency rhythms that exist within our heartbeats and our biofield. And this is at 7.8 hertz for the foundational mode, 14 hertz for mode 2, 20 hertz for mode 3, 26 hertz for mode 4, 33 hertz for mode 5, and 39 hertz. So this is 0 to 40 hertz across time, all universal time plus 7, as collected by the Space Observing System out of Tomsk, Russia. This is a big activation of like 39 hertz. Artificial or, well, yeah, I mean, this isn't natural. Whatever this is not natural. This is natural. If you again look through this record here, let me just go back. Like, this is very likely probably a rain cloud or maybe a very fast like thunder cell passing overhead. Same here. This is a pretty prototypical signature for like some rain, electrified rain cloud. These are the normal resonances under quiet, fair weather conditions. That's what you would call that. But as you can see right here, totally anomalous. So this is certainly not natural. It's artificial, whether that is like maybe some power grid air fluctuation anomaly introduced into the signal card and then broadcasted on the screen, which is very, very possible, probably the most likely scenario. Or, I mean, it's possible that there are powerful organizations out there which are able to maybe like induce energy and resonance in a spot using advanced technology. Like, I don't know, but that all is theoretically possible. It is all theoretically possible. So I don't know what this is, but this is showing up just in the past 3 hours, or rather it ended 3 hours ago. Here we have our time, and we see it lasted going from 4 a.m. 4 a.m. UTC plus 7 back to 2300. So 5 hours of this abnormal signal, really most strongly defined there at 39 hertz, as you can see. This is higher power on the legend there. This is low power with the blues and indigo, so very high power. And then we see a little bit of enhanced frequency, kind of like in this almost like a sine wave pattern, starting here and then going up through this band there, which is right between modes 2 and 3 at about 16, 17 hertz or so, about 17 hertz, totally non-resonant frequency. And then we see this other triple activation there, 1, 2, 3, just slightly above this band there. So actually lower in frequency, about maybe 6.5 hertz right there. So that's kind of the energy progression. This going the whole time at 39 hertz, and then this higher frequency bleeding into this 17 hertz or so resonant mode for 5 hours, which then also had near the end some of these low frequency pops. I don't know what that is. It's really weird. When we were getting ready for the live stream, I was like, oh, might as well check the Schumann resonances before we start because you're kind of joking around about it. And then, well, look, we got something very bizarre. So July 5th in general, this whole thing has been very weird for anyone that's been tracking this. And we've also just had some more earthquakes out of Japan. So this earthquake swarm has not let off in any way. We see our Earth right here. We see Japan. And so this is where our swarm is. This has been going on since about June 21st. It's been accelerating. So the most recent earthquake here being a 5.4. The strongest earthquake yet in the sequence being a 5.6. So this is right in that most powerful, basically magnitude bracket of magnitude 5 and greater. And that was at 21:29 universal time. We just passed midnight universal time. So just about 3 hours ago. Here's a 4.7. You'll see a 4.8 there. That's higher up in Japan. 4.7. Just a bunch of earthquakes. Let's go to our 1 week view just quickly. And then we're actually going to look at the meteorological site because the meteorological site is listing a lot more of these earthquakes. I'm trying to find the settings for this. 1 second. Here we go. 7 days, magnitude 2.5. And Here we go. There's all the earthquakes for the past week. So this is getting quite nuts. And if we put it on our list, again, earthquakes only on the map, and largest magnitude first, then you'll see, let me turn myself off too, 4.6, 4.6, or 5.6, 5.5, 5.4, 5.4, 5.2, 5.2, 5.2, 5.2, 5.2, a whole bunch of magnitude 5s right at the very bottom of the non-Chi trough, which is where they have this forecast prediction before July 5th of there being a megaquake 8.5 or greater magnitude within the next 30 years. And the Japanese geoscientists estimate that that's going to cause tremendous damage if it occurs and probably cost hundreds of thousands of lives. So this is already a very serious thing taken very seriously by the Japanese. They are in the most earthquake prone country in the world, and now there is this prophecy out of Japan which has dropped tourist traffic by like 50, 60, 70, 80% from nearby countries. And so, yeah, it's just very interesting that now, even on top of this earthquake storm already being there, which could be foreshock activity, about 5% of the time you get something like this, it's actually a foreshock before something bigger. The combined magnitude for this is probably about 6.3 right now. When I did the calculation a few days ago, it was a 6.1. Now we've had some more magnitude 5s, probably about a 6.2, 6.3, probably 6.2. So, I mean, that very feasibly could rupture with a higher magnitude earthquake. And the one thing I haven't mentioned yet either is that this is all happening near like known volcanoes, right? And there's actually some, like look at this guy right here, okay? We have Mount Maitake. Like, how do you think that thing formed in the first place? At one point, there wasn't a volcano there, like an island. It had to erupt out of the sea. And the manga prophecy is that it's a volcano-seismic event that you're going to get new land created. And so, we've seen volcanoes kind of get created in our recent record. We see a little bit at like Hawaii, some other places. But in general, we don't really know how quickly these sort of volcano islands can form. Because if you have a big enough explosion of magma material, like feasibly it can happen effectively overnight. And that's what the prophecy is for. So these earthquakes here could perhaps even already be like some of the beginning stages of a larger volcano seismic event. Like that's what you would see if you get a large movement of magma coming up, fracturing, like you get swarms like this. We had one similar to this swarm actually back in 1999, I believe it was, or was it 2009? Either way, there was one on the Gokul Ridge, I think it was 1999, where there was a whole bunch of earthquakes, magnitudes 2, 3, 4, some 5s, went all the way up to 6 at the highest. And when they went back and did new bathymetric surveying over the area, there were 3 new volcanoes, submarine volcanoes that existed that were strong enough that they actually created pyroclastic flows under kilometers of water. So these things are possible, and earthquakes often are the signature that the thing itself is happening now at that moment in time. So it's not like, I'm almost certain that no one's gone out and been doing bathymetric surveys here just in the past week. So it's very possible that something is already happening underwater, we don't have eyes on it, and then something bigger could be coming. Like, it's all possible. That was just the crazy thing about July 5th. And why we're doing the group collective harmonization, because as I've learned with the biofield tuning, you hold on to certain energies, and working with these energies, releasing them, really changes your conscious mind and how you perceive the world and what you want to carry forward. So, we've been talking about like how we have a choice, like what do we choose? And so that's what we're going to do. If we look at our other parameters for the Schumann resonances, we don't see anything out of line really with our frequency, amplitude, or quality factor. And the main reason why is because this is so different from the rest of the record that it's not going to show up in the specific frequency bands that they track to measure these changes. So this is very, very bizarre. Don't know what that is, but it lining up with this whole July 5th thing is very weird. And here's our meteorological site before we get into the collective tuning, just to show you how many earthquakes there have been. And I probably should refresh this, but I don't really want to lose my spot. Here's that 5.5, that most recent 5.5. And notice here, adjacent Sea of Tokara Islands. That's that earthquake swarm. Check out all the earthquakes that have happened since that 5.5. And that 5.5 was not that long ago. So there have been 1,000 plus, maybe even like getting close to like 1,500, 2,000 earthquakes now in the swarm. It has been intensifying. It's the strongest basically it's been today of all the days. Though there was that 5.6, I think yesterday. But in general, this swarm is very, very active, and it's down here if you look at the meteorological site. And the only reason it's showing this grid there is because it's just how the seismic data is laid out. The USGS shows the epicenters more accurately. But yeah, that is that earthquake swarm. So yeah, we are going to do tuning so we can choose kind of, feel what the energies are and hopefully make some choices that don't involve a massive destructive event. We hope that doesn't happen. That's not what we're here for. So let us welcome Eileen McKusick back onto the stage to do a collective tuning for us. And we're also, she's also talked about how she can tune different astrological configurations and like basically astronomical alignments. And we have a very interesting planetary geometry right now, right behind her, as you can see. And so I'm going to have this up on the video while she's working her magic, because maybe you decide you want to tune that as well. Who knows? But
we'll start with the self and expand out into the cosmos.
yes, sounds great. And actually, watch this, Eileen. This is magic. Check this out. I'm going to make you bigger.
Aha!
Aha!
Still
Now I
smaller
need
than you.
I need to squat down. But Eileen McKusick has the stage. I'm going to be just off to the side, basically just holding certain energy resonance, and I may join in if she wants me to. But I would just recommend everyone to get in a comfortable position. Yeah.
Yeah. Get comfy.
Breathing's really important, and boom, let's get going.
All right. Thanks, Stefan. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to give us a collective tuning. I'm going to use a variety of tuning forks. The tuning forks I use are my own tuning forks that we have at the Biofield Tuning Store. And what it is it's an invitation to let the sound take you on a little journey. So we all know that music moves us, right? We can be very moved by a song. A tuning fork is an instrument, and the sound has the potential to move us. And your job is to just be curious. So you can be listening through headphones, you can be listening through your speakers, you can be sitting up, you can be lying down. But the most important thing is really to get out of your head, because if you're thinking about it, or you have self-doubt, or you think this is weird or whatever, you're going to create static that's going to get in the way of the relaxation and coherence induction that is possible with this work. If you had a stressful day, if you're in pain, if you're worried about the earth ending, it's always good to settle down your nervous system, to bring yourself into a state of regulation. And the more we can stay coherent and regulated and manage our stress, the healthier we're going to be. And that's the gift that sound has really given me, is just a steadiness. The more you put coherent sound into your body's electrical system, the more you just have a coherent experience of your body, of your own mind, of your day, and of your interactions. And sound is a really beautiful way to bring us into a relaxed, aware presence. So let's just begin by closing your eyes and just doing a scan of how you feel right now. And don't try to change anything. Just notice, are you in pain? Do you have any patterns of tension? What's your breathing doing? And just sort of take a baseline assessment. And what I do is I activate the forks, and I'm going to listen to the collective. So everybody's on the live stream right now. Everyone who will ever watch this video, that's what I'm able to tune into. And I'm just going to listen to the signal, and I'm going to kind of narrate what I hear. So the tuning forks will initially resonate with whatever is out of phase, with whatever isn't coherent. And there's a very specific language to the tuning forks. I've been using these for 30 years, and I've learned this language. And emotions show up: fear, anxiety, tension, stress. They all make a particular sound through the fork. So the fork will initially resonate with whatever discomfort might be being experienced, and then it will help to entrain that into a more coherent expression. Sort of a biofeedback reflection process that helps the body to become aware of where it might be out of balance and then gently invite it back into a state of balance. And and all you have to do is just listen and notice what your experience is. So we've taken that baseline and kind of got a sense of how you feel right now. And then we're going to take a few breaths together, because a really important part of this work with tuning is about getting you to breathe better, to breathe more fully, to breathe in a more grounded, expansive, relaxed, consistent way. Our moods and our feelings really ride on our breath. So if you have anxiety, your breath is going to really reflect that. We really want to aim to have a breath that's full and expansive and easy and grateful, really. A grateful heart is a coherent heart, and it produces more optimized rhythms that just help your body and everything in it to function better. Okay, so let's take 3 breaths, and we're gonna take a first breath into the upper chest, then into the middle belly, and then all the way down into the pelvic floor. And each time we breathe in, we're gonna imagine that we can exhale down the spine, down the legs, and out the feet. So this is a centering and grounding breath, okay? So first breath into the upper chest, really front and back. And then exhaling with a little wind down into the ground. And then into the middle belly.
I'll help demonstrate.
All right, demonstrate the grounding breath. Okay, the middle belly. Show us the middle belly breath. And then all the way down into the pelvic floor. Really bring your awareness deep into your torso. Really feel that breath on that pelvic floor. Good. Okay, so now, once we're feeling embodied and grounded, I'm going to activate, the first fork I'm going to activate is 174 hertz. Thank you, Stefan. And again, just sort of tuning into the collective, and I'm just going to listen, and I want you to listen. And so we're going to do a few strikes of the fork, and I'm going to tell you what I hear. We'll do a few more. I do talk a bit through it. Hopefully that doesn't annoy you. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing is that the signal is actually pretty coherent. So, Stefan, you have a fairly coherent audience, because a lot of times when I come on a different channel and I go to do a tuning, the first few strikes are really kind of rough. But you guys sound good, and I'm not surprised, because the sort of thing you're interested in, you're probably seeking coherence in your own life. The one signal that really came through clearly with that was just sort of a feeling of rushing, just sort of feeling like maybe I have so much to do, right? This sort of always on the go and do. And so there's some part of the nervous system that's kind of like, I got to be busy. I got to do things, right? I got to check to see if Stefan's doing an update. And so that's what I heard in that, right? So that's just a little bit of an invitation to slow down, right? To just kind of become even more quiet. So I'm going to do a few more strikes, and we'll see what we notice. And remember to pay attention to your breathing. If you find yourself holding your breath, make sure you breathe in the belly and exhale down to the ground. We're also going to imagine, for those of you that are in pain, that this sound is really finding it right into those tension patterns. Sound opens up space between molecules. So let that sound really penetrate into the body and open up that space wherever you might have tension. Good. You know, while we're doing this tuning, there's fireworks going on outside, so this blast is being had. Okay, so just kind of noticing where you felt that in your body. Where my attention got brought to was the liver. And the liver holds the energy of anger, maybe of hate. So if there's something like if you've been on edge, if you've been a little irritable or a little tense, or you've been fussy in traffic, sometimes that really is related to tension in the liver. And a big part of getting coherent is really learning to stay in the coherent emotions. And that's not to say that we bypass or we ignore things, but maybe driving on the road and somebody cuts you off and you get angry. Well, you don't need to get angry, right? It's not necessary to get angry in a situation like that. That's just liver tension, and that's also that rushing. If you're rushing and you're angry, it's going to flare out and things like that. And that really puts a lot of wear and tear on your system and your signal. It's hard for your body to repair itself, to regenerate itself when we get into very tense and upset places. So we really want to do our best. I think the best thing for longevity is to learn to relax, like chill. So we're going to come in with a different fork this time, and this is 144 hertz. And I'm really going to bring the attention to the liver, and I want you to really breathe this sound into your liver. I want you to feel your liver sort of opening, expanding, and softening. Here we go. Same with frustration, anger, frustration, resentment, impatience, they're all kind of in that same category. I'm going to do a few more, and I want you to really keep breathing that sound into the liver. Really bring your breath into your liver, right? Because a lot of times we don't think about breathing into specific organs. But your breath, your mind helps to carry that there and to amplify that effect. Just be curious. Like imagine you're 5 and we're just, inviting you to imagine. And maybe you're noticing big breaths want to arise spontaneously, or you can breathe a little easier. Good. And then again, a big breath into the belly and then all the way down into the ground. Good. Okay, now where that kind of led me to was to the kidney and the adrenals. When we're under stress and we run on adrenaline, again, it kind of feels that frustration, that impatience, that edginess. And when we're in that kind of edge, then people annoy us and situations annoy us, and it's easier to get scared of what may or may not happen in the world. But if our kidneys and our adrenals are soft and relaxed, then we're more resilient in the face of stressors, right? We always appreciate the person who keeps level-headed, calm, and resilient when under stress. And so a big part of that is the health of the kidneys and the adrenals. So let that sound go right there in your mid-back. Just breathe it in. And sometimes when things start moving, I start moving, like my body wants to wiggle and jiggle. So if you're finding like movement wants to arise in you, give yourself permission to do that. Yawn, stretch, maybe get up and shake. That's what I end up having to need to do. And that's just a sign that the body is shifting its pattern, right? When animals have a kerfluffle, then they shake it off right away, right? And we tend to clamp down instead. So when the body wants to start moving, it wants to depattern it. It wants to release a particular pattern of tension. So breathing into that mid-back, really feeling with your mind, where are my kidneys? Where are my adrenals? Can I bring breath there? Right, and allow that big breath to arise, and then give yourself permission to make some noise on that exhale. Right, keep breathing into the kidneys.
And to bring in energy as well, to overcome any chronic fatigue and energy loss.
Yeah, because when we let that tension pattern drop out, right, we end up putting a lot of energy into tension, and that's what creates us being tired all the time. So the more that we learn to really deeply relax, the more that energy that's been going into tension can just go into flow and circulation. Yeah. All right, now we're going to bring this down into the pelvic area, the psoas muscle, which comes from the low back, the diaphragm. Right, so my voice is getting all just talking about it. So many people are really tight in these psoas muscles that go through the pelvis and connect at the front of the thigh. Right, and these muscles get shortened, they get tightened, they really create like this sort of hunker. And so the next few strikes, we're really going to go into those muscles that connect the front of the thigh through the pelvis up into the back. Okay, so just bring your imagination and your breath there. Sometimes it's not an easy place to go. Like a lot of us, maybe kind of go to the diaphragm, but don't always bring our awareness all the way down into that pelvic floor. I find a lot of times people disassociate when I'm bringing you here. So if you're starting to drift off or feeling like you need to go find something in the fridge or like stay with this. Stay with an awareness of the pelvis and just inviting breath and sound into that area, right? And then you can exhale from there, down the legs, out the feet. Really feel your connection to the ground. Let your breath massage the pelvic floor and let those muscles feel like they want to soften and open, maybe even melt a little. Okay, we're just going to do a couple more breaths into here. And can you really feel that connection to earth, right? If you're hanging out with Stefan, I'm sure you've been grounding. I'm sure you know how to ground. I'm sure you're a good grounder. So let's just get this whole group like super, super grounded, connected to the earth. And just a couple more minutes, we're going to do a meditation to take this group coherence and just send it out through the grid lines, the telluric currents, the Schumann resonance, just a coherent pulse really out into the collective. And this sort of thing is real. I mean, we all collectively create the collective. If we all get into a coherent state together and then very intentionally send that out, it's a small ripple, but a ripple nonetheless. So we really want to be grounded, rooted through that pelvis, soft liver, soft kidneys, soft pelvic floor, relaxed diaphragm.
We are creating the field. And we can choose our energies with consciousness to bring coherence to the field, to the collective.
Okay, I've just switched forks. This is 222 hertz, and we're just going to invite a general just presencing here. This fork is really an invitation to just really be in the moment. So I'm just going to be quiet for a moment. Stefan's probably going to ding the bowl. I'm going to ding the fork. We're just going to take a few moments to just really breathe and feel our own expansion, our own relaxed expansion, and tune in if you can to the energy of the group. I mean, whether it's live or the recording, this is a group field that we are creating. Good. Okay. So I want us to now beam this out into the world, but Stefan, I'm going to have you help me with this. And I'm actually going to have you play the 144. So these two forks together, the 222 and the 144, I call this pair the peacemakers. The 144 fork has this really amazing ability to really show you where things are out of balance. The overtones and undertones are very active, they're very descriptive. And if somebody has an ache or a pain or a strain or something going on, the overtones will sound really wonky. So this fork really wants to show you where everything is wrong with you and help fix it. Whereas this fork, the 222, loves you just the way you are. It doesn't really try to fix. It's just really a fork to sit with. It's a really good meditation companion. And what I find is that when we ring the two of them together, it creates a really interesting binaural beat that just helps to really bring a presence. It's like it's okay that things might be wrong because we love you just the way you are, and can really help to settle into peace. So as we both ring these together, we're just going to envision this sense of coherent community radiating out into the world as we are all individual points of light into the earth grid, and just sending coherence. You know, it's absolutely possible for humans to be coherent and to get along, and for the human family to be functional. And something that I really believe in and think that we can all really move towards, and then it's not as hard as we're told that it is. And a strong coherent signal will always overtake and entrain a weak incoherent signal. So the more of us who become coherent and become stronger in that, the more that is going to inform the collective. Okay, so Stefan, I'm going to give you the 222.
Oh, so I'm the good cop.
Yeah, I'm the bad cop.
Great.
You get to be the
Move
good
just
cop.
pull over.
Yeah, there we go.
I should do it.
All right. Okay, so just tune in. We'll just be quiet. We'll ring these forks for a bit and join us in that visualization of just expanding good vibes together out in the world. All right, here we go. Okay, let's do two more. Okay, taking a nice big breath all the way down into the pelvic floor. And then exhaling down to the ground. And we're going to do just one more. Sit tight with that. Stefan, this is 528 hertz. Let's see how these sound together. Very sweet. Water is sweet, life is sweet. And I think we can lose that sweetness and that presence in life. And we want to bring ourselves back to that. Just breathing in the sweetness of that sound.
Someone commented and said this was a third.
Ah, nice. Yeah, just feeling the heart, right? Feeling how these sounds and this presence and us just hanging out. Stefan and I had a great day today out in the mountains, just investigating dragon lines. And,
yeah, we did some tuning of the Earth grid, people.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had already on this job earlier today. And just feel that sort of radiant expansion, that illuminated, the sound really helps you to expand, right? In my observation, it's not about going higher. Why limit it to just one plane of movement? When we heal, when we become more coherent, we expand in every direction. We go out, we go up, we go down. We become more grounded, right? So the deeper your roots go, the more you ground in, the more you can expand upward and outward. And so we want to just feel into that sense of being grounded, being illuminated, being expanded. Just sending that coherent energy out into all your human brothers and sisters and to the earth, right? So let's take a moment to really not only send it to the human family, but to Mother Earth and Father Sun. So let's just honor our beautiful planetary and solar energies that we get to live with. Thank you, Mother Earth. Thank you, Father Sun. This beautiful, amazing life.
Don't explode on us.
No, don't explode on us.
Please don't.
Let's just keep on having a nice, easy, non-high drama. Although
We love it just the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Amen. Aho.
Giving thanks. Nice. Good.
Do you want to try the 432 for this?
I think this was just such a lovely trailing here, but we can, if we want to hear the 432. This is not my favorite fork.
It was nice a couple nights ago when I was playing it, though.
Where is it?
It should be one of those two. I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. We're going to do the 432 and the 222 together.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's see what that is.
I think it's nice.
It sounds a little more cosmic. Okay, so I know, because we forgot the stars. We should, also, we did the sun and the earth. Let's do the moon and the stars, too.
Yeah,
so let's take a moment to just, as we use these last forks, this will be the very end of this, let your consciousness expand out to all the heavenly bodies, to the utter cosmos, and feel that, right? Because ultimately that's all in us. It's all part of who we are. The stars are the farthest part of yourself that you can see. And so when we bring our awareness into that cosmic consciousness, we're really going out into the full reaches of our own potential of consciousness. So let's just take a moment to hang with the moon and the stars and see what we notice. I can feel them. Feel all the stars looking at us. Vibing.
Are you receiving anything from the earth? Any downloads?
You know, just love and appreciation. I think that whenever we kind of gather in groups consciously in this place of gratitude, connection, and expansion, that's going to make any mother happy when her children are getting along coherently and giving thanks, right? Any mother is going to be happy for that. So that's what I feel.
Well, that's great.
Gratitude back at you.
That's great. No
Good.
messages of, it's going to end in 2 hours.
I hope not. No, I don't think so. I think we're going to be fine. Nothing ever happens on the dates that are predicted.
Yeah,
I
typically.
mean, that could be famous last words, but
She's been very accurate.
yeah.
That's what
we'll
it
see.
seems.
But, you know, no matter what happens, stay coherent, stay grounded. You know, the resources are always at hand. And if you're in any kind of crisis, whatever you need is truly at hand. And if you stay calm and you stay coherent and you look around, what you need is pretty much always there, right? We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here right now if the resources weren't at hand when you're in a pickle, right? We've all made it through pickles, and that's because we were able to locate what we needed. So everybody just stay calm, stay grounded, stay kind. Yeah.
Yeah, can't agree more. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in on the live stream today. Yeah, weird Schumann anomaly, but hopefully we brought some coherence to the field with what we've done. At least we brought coherence to ourselves. And we are a large, powerful group, and that ripples out. And the more we enter into coherence, the less there is these non-coherent, chaotic, non-serving energies. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Wishing all of you well on both channels.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much. And stay tuned. Stefan and I are going to record another podcast while he's here. So stay tuned for that. We're talking about biofields, tuning forks, and more.
Yeah, stay tuned in. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks,
have a great
everybody.
night.
Good
Happy
night.
4th of July. Wishing everyone in Japan the best of luck and be well. Thank you.